One moment, they were building cities that could rival our own. The next, they were gone. How does a thriving civilization just vanish from history, leaving behind only silent stones and haunting mysteries? We're investigating the unsettling patterns behind the disappearance of the world's most advanced ancient civilizations. We see their magnificent ruins, but the final chapter is always missing. Today, we're examining 3 of the most profound disappearances in human history, searching for a pattern, a warning, a reason. First, the Indus Valley Civilization in modern-day Pakistan and India. 5,000 years ago, they built cities with grid systems and citywide sanitation when most of the world lacked basic plumbing. What's baffling is what they didn't have: no grand palaces or temples. It seems to have been a remarkably peaceful and egalitarian society. But around 1900 BCE, the great cities emptied out. The people simply walked away. The leading theory isn't a dramatic invasion, but something far more powerful: climate change. Scientists discovered that the summer monsoons that fed their crops became erratic and weak. At the same time, a major river system they depended on began to dry up. It wasn't a sudden death, but a slow decline caused by a changing world. Next, we travel to the dense jungles of Mesoamerica, home to the classic Maya civilization. Between 250 and 900 AD, they dominated the region. Their astronomers mapped the heavens with terrifying precision. Their architects raised towering pyramids like Tikal and Calakmul from the forest floor. And their kings ruled over city-states engaged in complex alliances and brutal warfare. Their intricate hieroglyphic writing tells stories of royal dynasties and cosmic cycles. They were a civilization at the absolute peak of its power. But then, the stone inscriptions stopped. Construction on the grand temples ceases. One by one, the great southern cities were abandoned, swallowed by the relentless jungle. For centuries, the question has been, why? There was no single cataclysm, but a perfect storm of disasters. Evidence points to a period of prolonged, intense drought that crippled their agricultural systems, which were already under strain from overpopulation. This environmental stress likely fueled more desperate and destructive warfare between city-states, as kings fought over dwindling resources. The delicate balance of ritual, agriculture, and power shattered, leading to a societal collapse from within. The people scattered, leaving their monumental cities to the jaguars and the trees. The story gets even stranger from here. And if you're finding these historical mysteries as fascinating as we do, take a second to subscribe and hit that like button. It helps us keep digging into the past to uncover these incredible stories. Your support is what makes these expeditions into history possible. Our final case takes us to a remote speck of land in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Easter Island, or Rapa Nui. This is one of the most isolated, inhabited places on Earth. And it's famous for one thing: the moai, nearly 1,000 colossal stone statues, some standing 33 feet tall and weighing 80 tons. Stare inland from the coastline. The mystery isn't just how they were carved and transported with primitive tools, but why their creation suddenly, and completely, stopped. When Polynesians first arrived on the island around 1200 AD, they found a lush paradise covered in giant palm trees. They flourished, and their population grew, leading to the development of a complex society capable of the monumental effort required to create the moai. These statues were likely representations of deified ancestors, a display of power and prestige among rival clans. But this obsession came at a terrible cost. To transport the massive statues, the islanders needed logs for rollers and rope made from tree fibers. The island was systematically deforested without the trees. The soil eroded, crop yields failed, and the canoes needed for deep-sea fishing could no longer be built. Archaeological evidence shows a dramatic shift, from a diet of porpoise and seabirds to one of rats. The society turned on itself. The oral traditions of the Rapa Nui people speak of a period of brutal tribal warfare, and the once revered moai were toppled in acts of desecration. They had engineered their own demise, a self-inflicted ecocide driven by cultural competition. So what's the connection? A river dries up, a drought withers the corn, a forest is cut down for stone gods. The Indus, the Maya, and the Rapa Nui, 3 brilliant civilizations, separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, all faced a similar fatal tipping point. They were brought to their knees not by invading armies, but by environmental collapse. Their complex societies were fragile ecosystems, dependent on a stable climate and a sustainable relationship with their surroundings. When that balance was broken, whether by natural climate shifts or human-driven deforestation, their foundations crumbled. The empty cities and toppled statues aren't just historical curiosities, they're cautionary tales. They are silent warnings, etched in stone, echoing across millennia, reminding us that no civilization, no matter how advanced, is immune to the world it depends on. Their story is a chapter of our own, and its ending is one we are still writing.